Was good ballers. This is Jim's Ballin' back again with the power rankings. We're up to week 11, and I mean, let's just hop right into it. You know how it goes, power rankings. Number 32, we got the Titans now. When it comes to bad teams, I mean, there's like a bottom tier of bad teams. Talking about teams like the Titans, the Giants, the Browns, the Panthers. I mean, you know the bad teams, right? Well, when it comes to these bad teams, I mean, you could put anyone in last place. I mean, they're all pretty bad, but I mean, just look at the Titans. I mean, I got to put them in last. I mean, they're not good. They're getting beat every week, and the quarterbacks are bad. Just overall, their team's really bad, and just it's not looking good for them. They lost to the Chargers, where they lost pretty easily. They got a garbage time touchdown to make it seem closer than it was, but they got crushed by the Chargers, and it's not good for the Titans. And they're 2-8 right now. So 32, we got the Titans. 31, we got the Giants, and they lost to the Panthers in overtime in Germany, and that's tough. They're at 2-8 now, and it's just not good for these Giants. And I think it's over for Daniel Jones. I think they got to bench him, and I mean they just got to move on from Daniel Jones and make some changes. It's not good. It's over for the Giants. And number 30, we got the Browns, and they're coming off the bye week, but they're a mess. They got Jameis Winston. I mean, you never know which Jameis you're going to get. Maybe he'll be gunslinging and maybe he'll be looking good, or maybe he'll be throwing a bunch of interceptions. But this Browns team's a mess. Nick Chubb running the ball. He hasn't even been able to run the ball well since he's gotten back. Their offense is just complete doo-doo. They can't do anything on the offensive side of the ball, and it's just bad for the Browns. They're 2-7 and they're 30th. At number 29, we got the Raiders, also coming off the bye week, and they're 2-7, and they're much like the Browns, where offensively just no good quarterbacks. They can't run the ball, and just their offense, total offense, is terrible, and that's why they're 29th. The Raiders are not good. Number 28, we got the Jaguars, and they lost to the Vikings, and I mean, I guess a close game. I mean, the Vikings kind of dominated, and they should have scored a lot more points than they end up scoring, but the final score, it was close. They still lost. I mean, if Trevor Lawrence started, maybe they could have actually won, but Mac Jones is doo-doo. The Jaguars are now 2-8, and it's looking rough. Number 27, we got the Panthers, and they surprised me a little bit. They were able to beat the Giants. I didn't expect them to do that, but the Panthers are still not good. They still need to improve at a lot, but I mean, hey, at least you're getting a few wins on the season, and it's looking better than last year. They're 3-7, but they're still not good. And number 26, we got the Patriots, and they were actually able to beat the Bears pretty easily. They're up to 3-7 now. Not terrible. I think they're a little better than I expected them to be. Drake May is looking like the guy. He's doing all right, but he also doesn't have anyone to throw the ball to, so maybe with some better targets to throw to, Drake May can look even better. And the Patriots team, maybe they can get a few upsets on the season, but they're still not that good. Number 25, we got the Cowboys, and it's looking over. 3-6 on the season. It's over. They got destroyed by the Eagles, and it's tough losing to a division opponent like that. It's rough. The Cowboys just need to pack it up. I think they just need to blow up everything, blow up the whole team, and just restart, because it's not it. At number 24, we got the Saints, and they were able to beat the Falcons, a little bit of an upset. They're now 3-7, snapped that 7-game losing streak, so congratulations for that. The Saints, they aren't the worst team in the league. On this tier of really bad teams, I mean, the Saints are probably on the higher part of that tier of these really bad teams, because I mean, they're still pretty competitive. They have some people to throw the ball to. Derek Carr's not the worst quarterback. Alvin Kamara's there. But if we're talking about the future of the Saints team, it's looking really bleak. Considering they're this bad and having to pay so much money to their players, it's not good. But for this season, for where they are right now, I think they're 24. I think that's fair. Number 23, we got the Jets, and they just got destroyed by the Cardinals, and that was completely embarrassing. This whole season from the Jets have been embarrassing. This team is supposed to be Super Bowl contenders. They're supposed to be all in, going for a Super Bowl, And right now they're at 3-7. They have the same record as the Panthers. A team that's supposed to be competing for a Super Bowl has the same record as the Panthers. And that just shows you how much of a failure this Jets team has been. I didn't have a lot of faith in them. I thought they'd probably finish the season at like an 8-9 or 9-8 record. I thought they could make a push for the playoffs, but ultimately fall short. No, it's this team couldn't even do that. They're looking like one of the worst teams in the league. It's just over. It's Jover. I mean, if I was Aaron Rodgers, I would have just announced my retirement right now. I mean, the season's over. Like, what's going to change next season? What changes can you actually make to make this team a contender? I don't think you can do that. Aaron Rodgers, if I was him, I mean, I wouldn't even just play any more games this season. I mean, it's over. I would just retire if I was him. And number 22, we got the Colts, and they lost to the Bills, and they're now at 4-6. They look like, hey, maybe this could be a playoff team, and now that's looking like, no, I don't think that's going to happen. Joe Flacco looks like he can't lead this team to the playoffs, and I think just what you got to do is you got to put Anthony Richardson in. You got to see what he can do because he's still really raw. He needs some experience. I mean, I don't know how much experience you can get just sitting on the bench behind Joe Flacco. I mean, maybe you can learn a few things just sitting on the bench for a few games, but him sitting out the rest of the season, I don't know what that does for the future of this franchise. At number 21, we got the Bears, and they got destroyed by the Patriots, and it's looking bad for the Bears right now. It looked like, hey, maybe they can be something. Maybe they can even make a push for the playoffs. But right now, it's not looking like that. Ever since that devastating loss to the Commanders, it's looking like all the life got sucked out of them, and it's looking like a lost season. But I mean, there's always next year, and maybe with Caleb Williams, maybe he can keep developing and become that guy that they think he can be. And number 20, we got the Seahawks, and they're coming off a bye week, and they've just looked super inconsistent. It's been a really disappointing season for the Seahawks, honestly, considering with all the injuries to the Rams and the 49ers, and with the Cardinals being and looking like a rebuilding season, they have not been able to capitalize in their division, and they're looking like the worst team in their division after starting 3-0. So it's kind of embarrassing. The Seahawks are really inconsistent. We'll see what they can do, but I don't have a lot of faith in them. Number 19, we got the Rams, and they lost to the Dolphins. They're now 4-5. When this team's clicking, they can look like a really scary team, but when they're not clicking, they don't look dangerous at all. So right now, I'll have them at 19. We'll see what they can do for the rest of the season. And number 18, we got the Dolphins, and they were able to beat the Rams, but at what cost? I mean, right now, the Dolphins are 3-6, and they look like a competitive team, but you're telling me that they have to go 7-1 to make the playoffs? It's not looking like that. I don't believe the Dolphins can do that. I believe they can be competitive and win some games, but like I said, at what cost? I don't know what the future of this Dolphins team looks like. Last year, they had a perfect opportunity to win their division, but they just let it slip through their hands and let the Bills be able to come back and win that division. And right now, the Bills already won their division pretty much. That is over. That is locked up for the Bills. I don't know what the Dolphins do. I mean, it's tough being in a division with Josh Allen and with Patrick Mahomes too, because, I mean, even if this Dolphins team, even with Tua was completely healthy, even if this team is playing at their best, they still will come up short against the Bills, against the Chiefs. So I don't know what they do going forward, but I mean, hey, you win a game. I mean, at least you can do that, I guess. At number 17, we got the Broncos, and they lost a tough one to the Chiefs, one they probably should have won, but right now they're sitting at 5-5, and they could make the playoffs. They look like an all right team. We'll see. At number 16, we got the Bengals, and they lost another heartbreaker to the Ravens. They're 4-6, and it's looking tough for them to be able to make the playoffs. They're going to have to win some games here. But, I mean, hey, maybe they can do it. But regardless, this Bengals team is still really competitive, even if they're sitting at a below 500 record. It's just tough for Joe Burrow playing at a really high level. Same with Jamar Chase. Just to have their defense be one of the worst in the league, that's just really tough. At number 15, we got the Bucks, and they're really similar to the Bengals, I'd say. They just lost to the 49ers, but they're a very competitive team, a hard team to beat, but they still end up falling short and losing games. So it's just tough. And number 14, we got the Falcons, and they just got upset by the Saints. But they're still sitting at 6-4. They're still winning games, and it's looking like they'll win the NFC South. But this is not a really scary team. I'm not too impressed with the Falcons, and they're looking super inconsistent. So, you'll be able to win your division and maybe get a home playoff game and maybe win that. But I don't have a lot of faith in this Falcons team. And at number 13, we got the Texans, and it's looking like the AFC South and the NFC South are looking like the two worst divisions in football. The Texans lost a heartbreaker to the Lions, and at least maybe Nico Collins will actually be back this week. They desperately need him back. They're still 6-4, and they're still looking like they're going to win their division pretty easily, but this team is kind of falling short of where you'd expect them to be. Maybe things will pick up for them, but they haven't looked too impressive. Number 12, we got the 49ers. CMC back. They were able to beat the Bucs. Probably should have won more easily. Some missed field goals kind of made it a little bit closer than it should have been, but a win's a win. They're looking like they're putting things together with CMC back, and they're above 500 now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win their division. And number 11, we got the Chargers, and they were able to beat up on the Titans. A game they should have won, and they did pretty easily. The Chargers have been beaten up on bad teams a lot, but wins are wins. They're getting wins. They're 6-3, and they're looking pretty good. At number 10, we got the Cardinals, and they just destroyed the Jets. I think I might be finally fully in on this Cardinals team. They're 6-4, and they've been beating up on teams. They've been getting good wins. I don't know. I just have a lot of faith in this Cardinals team. I think they can make a push, and they're looking pretty good. Kyler Murray's looking really good. Maybe an MVP candidate. Kind of crazy to say, but the Cardinals have been looking really good. At number 9, we got the Packers coming off the bye week. They're 6-3. We'll see if they can put things together and look more impressive after that Lions lost. Number 8, we got the Vikings, and they barely beat the Jaguars in a game they should have won by a lot more points, but a win's a win, and they're now at 7-2. They haven't looked super impressive their last few games. They still got a really good record and still a really good defense. So I think they're still worthy of the number 8 spot. And number 7, we got the Commanders. And they lost a tough one, a close one to the Steelers. But overall, they still played pretty well. That offsides jump at the end, that I don't know how you fall for that, but that's a tough way to lose. Same for that 4th down conversion. That was just a game of inches, just not being able to get that. It's close. The Steelers are a tough team, and the Commanders played really well. And I still think they're a really strong team, and they deserve the number 7 spot. At number 6, we got the Steelers, and they were able to barely beat the Commanders. They got a really good defense. Russell Wilson's doing enough, and the Steelers are looking pretty good. If you told me the Steelers were 7-2 at the beginning of the season, I would say no way. I didn't have that much faith in the Steelers. I thought this might actually be the season where they actually missed the playoffs, but no, it looks like they might even win their division, which is crazy to say, but Steelers are looking pretty good, surprisingly. At number 5, we got the Eagles, and they destroyed the Cowboys. The Eagles have been beating some bad teams recently, but they've been winning, and they're up to a 7-2 record, which is pretty good. And I think I might be finally bought into this Eagles team again. They've been looking really good, and Jalen Hurts is looking back to MVP form. When the Eagles are good, they're pretty good. So I have them at number 5. Number 4, we got the Ravens, and they beat the Bengals in a close one again. I'm really scared for that Ravens defense, but Lamar Jackson's looking like MVP again this year, so the Ravens are still really good, and they're at 7-3. And number 3, we got the Bills, and they beat the Colts. Maybe it was a little close at times, but still a win, and pretty easy win overall. And they're now at 8-2, and the Bills have been looking pretty impressive for a season where it looks like they might take a step back. They've looked as strong as ever. Number 3, we got the Bills. And number 2, we got the Chiefs. They're still undefeated. They were able to beat the Broncos off of a blocked field goal, which is ridiculous. Somehow this Chiefs team keeps winning, so they're going to be high up on the power rankings. They're up at number 2. So that means staying at number 1 again this week, we got the Lions now. The Lions probably should have lost. The Chiefs would have lost. If they both lost, I probably would have put the Bills up to number 1. But I mean, if you keep winning, you can't really push you down in the power rankings, right? So the Lions were able to beat the Texans on game-winning field goal, crazy comeback. And the Lions are now 8-1, and it's looking like the Chiefs and Lions are a very easy number 1 and number 2 in the power rankings. Yeah, a tough win for the Lions, but they still won, and I'm going to keep them at number 1 for now. We'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. But yeah, this has been the power rankings. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you made it this far into the video. This has been Jim's Ballin'. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.